The next part of the IEP is figuring out what type of accommodations you receive in your classroom. And this is, I think, the most important part for you to know so that if you're not receiving your accommodations, you can talk to the teacher, or you can absolutely come talk to me and we'll make sure that those are set up in your classroom. Some accommodations, some examples of them are having your test read or getting an extra set of books to take home, taking tests in small environments, having modified assessments. So, all of those are accommodations that can be done in the classroom and outside the classroom by your teachers to help you learn. It doesn't change what you're learning, it just changes how you're learning. And then with accommodations, we also take a look when we go to take maps and park tests. We make sure that you get the right accommodations. If you get them in the classroom, then we provide them when you take those tests so that the tests show that what you know. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is for number 16, are there any boxes under consideration of special factors? Checked yes. If there are, please write which ones. I'd like you to list 3 of your accommodations. I want you to look over every single one, but I just want you to write 3. And then 18 is an outdated question. It says, can you take the ISAT test? Really, we take park now, so it should mention something about park. And all of you on my caseload are taking the park test, so that's going to be marked yes. 19, you're going to look for what other test is marked yes. And the hint is that it happens 3 times a year and it's on the computer. And then 20, do you need any accommodations during these tests? Take a look at all of them, but list maybe just one. Okay, another part of the IEP that's pretty important to you and you've just started to get more involved with this in 7th grade is helping to pick what types of classes are great and best for you. If you take a look at the categories, the first one is Gen Ed with no supplementary aids. A lot of time we look at Roundtable or PE as a place to put that. Sometimes though, PE might work with general ed with supplementary aids. That means you're in PE, but you're going to get your accommodations. So if you take a test, then your test can be read in PE. So that falls under this category. They might look a little bit different because our IEP form has changed in the last couple of years. Then there's special ed and related services, and that means within the gen ed classroom. So if you're in a co-taught class, so you see me and another teacher, that would go right here because you're receiving some services inside the classroom that everyone is in. The next part is special ed services outside general education. That's like if you came to me for a separate reading class or if you came to me for E&R a couple days of the week, that would be listed under here. The primary implementer, I should have told you this, that means me. It probably says LBS 1. That stands for Learning Behavior Specialist. That's exactly what my job title is. It also shows how many minutes per week. So if you have one E&R with me for a week, that's 40 minutes or 42. I don't remember what exactly it goes out to. And then if you have 2, then it would be 84 and it would just continue to get larger. Then down here, there's related services. If you go to speech or if you meet with a social worker or anybody else, maybe an occupational therapist, then that would be listed here. And down here is a part that I care about because I like to track your minutes, and that's something that I have to turn into my boss's boss's boss and to the state. So we take a look at how many minutes we add all this stuff up and put it in different columns. This is kind of cool. If you continue on, you can take a look and see when you're going to graduate. That's really weird to think about because you're in 8th grade, but we put it on a sheet of paper. If there is extra information that we want to put, there's a page possibly in your IEP called additional notes or information. Sometimes there's some extra stuff, especially if you have a transition plan. I add like the address of what school you mentioned that you want to go to, or if you wanted to be in the Army, I put how to contact a recruiter. So you might have this filled out, you might not. Then there's this idea, or this thing I've been talking about, a transition plan. And it really is just a plan for the future to help you move from school to your adult life. And it all depends on what you need and what you're interested in. So it can help you choose a job and choose a school, live on your own. And so I ask you a bunch of questions, probably in January. I don't know, I'm not going to be here in January, but I ask you a lot of questions, and then that's going to help me fill out all of this paperwork and this information. What kinds of employment goals you have? Where do you want to work? Do you want to work in a daycare? Do you want to be a sports manager? Lots of different things can go in here. It's all up to you. And they can change because you are in 8th grade, and that's totally fine. When I was in 8th grade, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And then I realized it's a ton of school, so I changed my mind when I was in high school. And then I changed again in college. This part's kind of cool. We figure out what you're going to take classes when you're 14 or 15, then what classes when you're 15, 16, then the classes when you're 16, 17, and then when you're 17, 18. So you'll have some high school classes listed on here, and they can change every year. We take a look at the IEP in March or April. We'll have a high school teacher come and help us make sure that they fit with all the new classes that they're offering. And then this is a part, of the transition plan that I fill out. But just if you need any supports, maybe you need help with getting around the community, I would add that in. And the last thing is a functional behavior assessment or a behavior plan. I'm going to skip that part, and if you have one of these, I'd like for you to come talk to me about it, and then I will walk you through it, because it can be big, little, long, short, and so I would love to just talk to you about that. So come find me if you do have what's called an FBA.